A passenger jet vanishes from radar over the Pacific Ocean. Hours later, it lands safely with everyone on board alive. But when investigators retrieve the black box, they discover something recorded in those missing hours that should not exist. Something that makes every scientist who hears it go silent. Before we dive in, what time are you listening? Where are you from? Drop a comment below and tell me. And please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Flight 742 begins like any other red-eye from Tokyo to Los Angeles. Captain Richard Hayes has flown this route 217 times. His co-pilot, Emma Chen, just completed her training 6 months ago. She is nervous but ready. The Boeing 777 carries 312 passengers and 11 crew members. Business travelers heading home, families returning from vacation, students going back to university. None of them know that in 4 hours, they will be part of aviation history's greatest mystery. The flight takes off at 11:47 at night. Tokyo's lights disappear below them as they climb to cruising altitude, 39,000 feet. The cabin lights dim. Passengers settle in with movies, books, and sleep. Everything is routine. Everything is normal. Captain Hayes reviews the weather reports. Clear skies ahead. Smooth sailing all the way to California. He leans back in his seat and takes a sip of coffee. At exactly 2:18 in the morning, something changes. Emma notices it first. The instruments begin showing readings that make no sense. The altimeter says they are climbing, but the artificial horizon shows level flight. The GPS coordinates start jumping across the screen. 1 second, they are over empty ocean. The next second, the system shows them above the Arctic. Then back to the Pacific. Then somewhere over Central Asia, Emma calls out to Captain Hayes. He sees it too. But the plane feels steady. No turbulence. No unusual sounds. Just the quiet hum of the engines doing their job. Then the radio goes dead. Captain Hayes tries every frequency. Nothing but static. He attempts to contact air traffic control in Tokyo. Silence. He tries the emergency frequency. Still nothing. It is as if every radio signal in the world has stopped existing. Emma checks the backup systems. They show the same impossible readings. Hayes makes a decision. He will continue on course based on the compass and his experience. Whatever is happening with the electronics, the plane itself is flying fine. In the cabin, passengers begin to notice something strange. A businessman in seat 12A looks out his window and freezes. The sky outside is wrong. It is not the dark blue-black of night at high altitude. It is a color he cannot describe. Not purple, not green. Something in between. Something that seems to shift as he watches it. He rubs his eyes and looks again. The color is still there. He presses the call button for a flight attendant. Meanwhile, other passengers are experiencing their own oddities. A woman in seat 23F watches her phone screen flicker with images that are not from any app she has installed. Geometric patterns that hurt to look at. A teenager in seat 31B sees the overhead bins vibrating. But when he reaches up to touch them, they are perfectly still. A mother in seat 8C notices her baby has stopped crying and is staring at the ceiling with an expression of pure fascination. The baby is silent, completely silent, not scared, just watching something the mother cannot see. The flight attendants try to calm passengers, but they are just as confused. The head attendant, Marcus, has worked for the airline for 15 years. He has seen mechanical problems, medical emergencies, even a hijacking attempt once. But this is different. This feels different. He makes his way to the cockpit and knocks. Captain Hayes lets him in. Marcus asks what is happening. Hayes tells him the truth. He does not know. For 93 minutes, Flight 742 exists in this strange state. The instruments show impossible locations. The sky outside displays that nameless color. Passengers report seeing things they cannot explain. One man swears the cabin walls became transparent and he could see stars moving in patterns that formed shapes. Shapes that might have been letters in a language nobody on Earth has ever written. A woman claims she heard music coming from the engines. Not mechanical sounds. Actual music. Complex and beautiful and terrifying all at once. Then, at 3:51 in the morning, everything returns to normal. The instruments snap back to showing correct readings. The GPS places them exactly where they should be based on their flight time. The radio crackles to life, with air traffic control asking why they went silent. Captain Hayes, his hands shaking slightly, responds that they experienced technical difficulties, but everything is fine now. He does not mention what they just went through. He does not know how to explain it. The sky outside the windows is the normal dark blue of high-altitude night. The passengers settle down, many of them wondering if they imagined the whole thing. But they all experienced it. 312 passengers, 11 crew members. All of them saw something. All of them felt something. When the plane lands in Los Angeles at 6:32 in the morning, local time, everyone disembarks quietly. Some of them exchange glances. Some of them shake their heads as if trying to clear a dream. But nobody talks about it. Not yet. Next, Image 22 airport officials notice something odd during the standard post-flight inspection. The plane's clock systems are wrong. Every clock on the aircraft shows a time that is exactly 93 minutes ahead of what it should be. The maintenance crew assumes it is a software glitch and resets everything. They log it in their report, but think nothing more of it. Just another technical anomaly to fix. But then the Federal Aviation Administration gets involved. Standard procedure for any flight that loses radio contact. They request the black box data, the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder. Captain Hayes and Emma Chen are asked to come in for debriefing. They tell their story carefully, sticking to the facts. Instrument malfunction, radio failure. But they landed safely, and that is what matters. The investigators nod and take notes. They have heard plenty of stories about electrical problems at high altitude. Nothing unusual there. The black box arrives at the National Transportation Safety Board laboratory in Washington. Senior analyst Dr. Patricia Morgan has examined thousands of flight recorders in her 23-year career. She has heard recordings of engines failing, pilots fighting to save their aircraft, final moments before crashes. She approaches every black box with professional detachment. This one seems routine. A simple electrical malfunction case. She connects it to the analysis computer and starts the playback. The first 2 hours of the flight are exactly as expected. Normal cockpit chatter. Systems checks. Radio communications with air traffic control. Then, at 2:18 in the morning, everything changes. Dr. Morgan hears Captain Hayes and Emma Chen discussing the instrument problems. She hears the concern in their voices. Standard stuff. But then she hears something else. Something in the background. At first, she thinks it is interference. Electronic noise from the malfunctioning systems. She increases the volume and applies filters to clean up the audio. What she hears makes her stop breathing. Beneath the voices of the pilots, beneath the hum of the engines, there is another sound. It is rhythmic. It is structured. It is not random noise. Dr. Morgan has a degree in acoustics and another in aerospace engineering. She knows what engine sounds are supposed to be. She knows what electrical interference sounds like. This is neither. She isolates the sound and plays it again, and again, and again. Each time, she becomes more certain. This is a pattern. This is information. This is communication, she calls in her supervisor. He listens to the recording without saying anything. Then he listens again. His face goes pale. He makes a phone call. Within 2 hours, the laboratory has 6 additional specialists analyzing the black box data, audio experts, linguists, signal processing engineers. They all reach the same conclusion. The sound recorded on Flight 742's black box is not coming from the aircraft. It is not coming from any known source. It is structured in a way that suggests intelligence, but it does not match any human language. Not English, not Japanese, not any of the 7,000 languages. Spoken on Earth, one linguist notices something that makes the situation even stranger. The pattern in the sound matches mathematical constants, pi, the golden ratio, Fibonacci sequences, but they are arranged in a way that implies they are being used as a grammar, as if someone is speaking in mathematics, building sentences out of numbers, conveying meaning through ratios and sequences. When the team tries to map the pattern, they discover it contains information far too complex to be coincidental. Star charts, distances, coordinates in 3-dimensional space. Dr. Morgan takes the recording home that night. She should not, but she does. She listens to it in her study with the lights off, and for the first time in her career, she feels genuine fear. Because buried in that mathematical language, she recognizes something. A sequence that appears near the end of the 93-minute anomaly. She runs it through translation software, treating it like code. The result makes her hands shake. It translates roughly to a concept. Not a word. A concept. The closest English approximation would be observation complete. The next morning, Dr. Morgan presents her findings to the NTSB director. She expects skepticism. She expects to be told she is reading too much into noise. But the director listens carefully and then asks a question that changes everything. Did she check the flight data recorder? Not just the voice recording, but the actual flight data. The altitude, speed, position data that the plane's systems logged every second. Dr. Morgan had not. She had been so focused on the audio anomaly that she had not analyzed the flight data itself. She pulls it up on her computer. What she sees should not be possible. During those 93 minutes, according to the flight data recorder, the plane was not flying in a straight line from Tokyo to Los Angeles. The data shows the aircraft moved in a spiral pattern, a perfect logarithmic spiral. But here is the impossible part. The radius of that spiral was 14,000 miles, larger than Earth's diameter. The plane would have had to leave the atmosphere, travel through space, and return, all while the passengers and crew experienced normal cabin, pressure and gravity. More experts are brought in, astrophysicists, aerospace engineers, people with security clearances Dr. Morgan did not know existed. They analyze every byte of data from that flight. The conclusion they reach is classified, but Dr. Morgan hears whispers. The plane did not just experience an electrical malfunction. For 93 minutes, Flight 742 was somewhere else. Not just somewhere else on Earth, somewhere else entirely. And whatever was in that place, it communicated with them. It recorded its message on the black box. A message in the language of mathematics. A message that says observation complete. The passengers and crew of Flight 742 are never told the full truth. The official report lists the incident as severe electromagnetic interference from an unusual atmospheric phenomenon. Rare, but not impossible. The airline compensates everyone on board with vouchers for future flights. Most people accept the explanation and move on with their lives. But some do not. Some passengers report recurring dreams of that nameless color in the sky. Some hear echoes of that mathematical music in moments of silence. Some wake up at night with the absolute certainty that they were chosen for something. Selected, observed Captain. Richard Hayes retires 6 months after the incident. He tells people it is time, that he has had a good career. But the truth is, he cannot bring himself to fly that route again. Every time he thinks about it, he remembers those 93 minutes. He remembers the impossible readings on his instruments. He remembers the feeling that something vast and incomprehensible was paying attention to his tiny aircraft, studying it, learning from it. Emma Chen continues flying, but she requests different routes. Never the Pacific. Never at night. Never at that altitude. The black box recording is stored in a secure facility. Only a handful of people have clearance to hear it. Sometimes, late at night, Dr. Morgan thinks about that message. Observation complete. Complete. That word bothers her more than anything else. It implies the observation had a purpose, a goal, and if the observation is complete, what comes next? What happens when something that can pluck a passenger jet out of our reality decides it has learned enough? When it decides to do more than just observe? She has tried to decode more of the message. She has spent hundreds of hours analyzing every frequency, every pattern. There is more there. She is certain of it. Layers of information she cannot quite access. Instructions, maybe. All warnings. Or something else entirely. Something human minds are not equipped to understand. The mathematical language suggests intelligence far beyond our own. An intelligence that speaks in universal constants. An intelligence that can manipulate space and time as easily as we change. Radio stations, other incidents are quietly investigated. Other flights that experienced brief anomalies. Radio silence lasting exactly 93 minutes. Passengers reporting strange colors outside their windows. Instruments showing impossible readings. The incidents are scattered across years and airlines. Never enough to form an obvious pattern. But when you know what to look for, the pattern emerges. Flight 742 was not the first. It will not be the last. Something is studying our aircraft, our technology, our species, perhaps, and it is patient, taking its time, observing. The question that keeps Dr. Morgan awake is simple and terrifying. Why airplanes? Why choose passenger jets flying over oceans at night? Is it because they are isolated, easy to pluck from radar coverage without causing immediate panic? Or is there something about human flight that interests this intelligence? Something about our attempt to master the skies that draws its attention? She has no answers. Only more questions, and the haunting certainty that somewhere, in a place our physics cannot describe, something is reviewing its observations, processing the data it collected from 312 humans who never knew they were test subjects. The official investigation of Flight 74 closes after 8 months. The file is marked with a classification level Dr. Morgan has never seen before. She is told to stop her analysis, to forget what she heard on that recording, to move on to other cases. She tries. She really does. But late at night, when the laboratory is empty, she sometimes plays that recording one more time, and she listens to that mathematical voice speaking its incomprehensible message, and she wonders if somewhere something is listening back, waiting, watching, preparing for the day when observation turns into something more. Asterisk, the passengers of Flight 74 to go back to their lives. They go to work. They spend time with their families. They book other flights and travel the world. But sometimes, at 39,000 feet, they look out the window and remember. They remember that color that has no name. They remember the feeling of being somewhere impossible, and they wonder if they will ever truly understand what happened to them in those 93 minutes. Most of them hope they never do, because some mysteries are not meant to be solved. Some questions are not meant to be answered. Some truths are too vast for human minds to hold. Asterisk and the black box. It sits in its secure facility, holding secrets that might never be fully decoded. A testament to the night when something beyond our comprehension reached down and touched one of our machines, one of our creations, one small aircraft full of ordinary people living ordinary lives. It touched them for 93 minutes and then let them go. But it left its mark in the data, in the audio, in the memories of everyone who was there. A mark that says we are not alone in this universe. We are not the only intelligence. We are not the watchers. Sometimes we are the watched. Asterisk, so if you like this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this.